Hi,
Are
yeah,
you
really
well?
good. Are you?
Yeah, not bad. Thank you so much for joining
Oh, I'm
today.
super excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, honestly, I've been so excited. I was sort of warming up a little bit there, telling people, and I'll introduce you properly now that you're here. So the reason I wanted to interview Rachel today for Startup Stories is what she has done with accounting is just astronomical. Like you've literally like turned it on its head. It's not like old guy in a suit. It's not boring. It's not, none of this sort of stereotypical that you would expect from accounting. And so that was why I wanted to bring you on to interview you today. Now, just to give people a bit of a rundown, if they don't know, I've got a bit of an intro here. So Rachel runs an accountancy firm called Strivex with her fiance James. They've completely refreshed the approach to accountancy, as I've said, ditching the stereotype for the more modern, fresh, simple approach all through digital accounting. Rachel herself is a qualified accountant and business owner with a passion for supporting other female entrepreneurs, specialising in accountancy, tax advisory services for influencers, female entrepreneurs, business owners, and always goes that extra mile for her clients, which I can vouch for. By providing support and empowerment and positivity along the way. How was that? Was that right? Kind of
That was the best
accurate?
intro I've ever had.
So I'll kind of hand over to you now. Correct me, give me, tell me more. As you sort of tell me, like how you first came up with the idea of starting your own business.
Yeah, of course, I'd love to. Yeah, hi everybody. I'm really excited and honoured to be here. I literally am having the time of my life, and I don't think enough people speak passionately about the fact that like being a business owner is one of the most insane things you'll ever do, but like for all of the best reasons. And I think for me, when I decided to become an accountant, there was nobody that I felt like I could relate to or that I wanted to be like. We call the stereotypical accountant here the stale pale male, and like that's very much like the stereotype that people put on you. Or like I've walked into clients before and a client has said like, oh sorry, I'm waiting for my accountant to come, and I'm there like, yeah, it's me, like thanks. I've had people come on Zoom calls and say, how much experience do you have, because I'm you look quite young. And I think I
You're
wanted,
blessed with that fresh face.
yeah, it's a compliment now. It's a compliment. But yeah, I think for me, it's a big part of it is creating a platform to show young women specifically, but all young people, that being an accountant can be something that is passionate and exciting. And like all I get to do all day is work with business owners like you that are trying to grow and scale really exciting, fantastic, like forward thinking and female led sometimes businesses. And it's my job to just like put them in touch with each other when they have weird and wacky random questions. And like I deal with a lot of the Etsy and the online community, and I'm able to sort of like encourage them to network and speak to each other. So if one of them's having problems with a packing manufacturer, I can put them in touch with others who have other suppliers and things like that. So there's part of it which is about creating something for young accountants to like a safe place, and for them to think,
Yeah.
actually I want to do accounting that way because that's really exciting and fun, and I can make a difference. And
Yeah.
and then there's the fun actual like the business owner side, which is to do it with someone that I love as well, just makes it 10 times better.
Oh, I know. I'm so jealous because I'd love to run a company with Scott, my husband, and he was made redundant last year. He's back in employment now through COVID. And I was trying to encourage him. It's like, come on, you're like a salesman by like, and I'm marketing. Like, what a great combo. He's just like, not for me. I'd rather be employed. And I'm like,
Same.
yeah, like come to the dark side.
To
But no,
be
he
fair,
wasn't having
I
any of
think
it.
accountants do inherently like marry each other because like we don't have a huge social life, so we just sort of like pair up.
Yeah. No one gets the accounting jokes because they're just so in depth. Bless. So was that your mission right from the get-go, from when you started your business? Did you want to bring this whole like fresh approach to it that was completely different, or did you feel like you were led down that sort of traditional path?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting question because so James and I met working at a top 100. So we're both trained to a really high standard, and it's a very corporate approach. And there was a couple of things that we took from that we basically tried to reverse engineer our business to not be like that. And that was, clients got really frustrated when they felt like they were being passed around. So like big accountancy practices will have different departments for different things, and actually what that means to the client is it's very, very inconsistent, firstly. And secondly, lots of big accountancy firms really love charging by the hour, which when you're a small business and you're a small business owner, like that just doesn't work that's not going to work for you. Like fixed fee is very important. Feeling really comfortable to ask questions and knowing that that's like an all-inclusive price, and that like you and me ping like gifts and WhatsApps to each other, and also it's about, I feel like we become friends, like we're so intimately involved with each other's businesses, and like you're rooting for each other, and like you want each other to do really, really well. So the personal approach that is consistent so that clients know what they're going to get, but also in a really like supportive and loving way, like it's like family.
It does. It feels like an extended team, really, doesn't it? It's like, from the client side anyway, from my side, it does feel like you guys are kind of like part of the company in a way.
And that's, it's so wonderful that you said that, because that's the goal, you know, like we're not like a big corporate firm that's like, right, you've handed over your year-end accounts to us now. We're like pinging each other WhatsApp saying, how's it going? Like, can I help you? Do you want me to introduce you to that person that you saw me collaborating with on Instagram? I'd love to connect you. Like that's what it's about, you know?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fascinating. So when you took that first step into business, tell me about how you felt, self-doubt as an introvert. Like, how did that feel?
I think the introvert piece is really, really interesting. And it's actually, so my TED talk is being recorded on Tuesday, and I'm speaking all
TED talk.
I'm speaking all about how to leverage being an introvert to grow a successful business, because it's definitely something that I really struggled with. And I'm the sort of introvert that if I tell someone I'm an introvert, they tell me I'm not. And I just say like, oh, okay, well, I'm not now then. And I think as introverted people, sometimes we're overlooked, or like we're told to like lighten up, or like just put yourself out there. And actually, as introverts, it's not really about that. It's about how you feel when you're around people, and like where you gain your energy. And I think sometimes we're told like business is ruthless, like you have to be ruthless to be a business owner. And actually, like, we've literally fundamentally built this business on being kind to people, and we don't charge for our time, and we do just want to help people, because the person I help, not charge, will tell 10 people that I'm the best accountant they've ever spoken to. And if I spoke to one person and then billed them for it, they probably wouldn't come back to me. And I think those conversations aren't something, all we're told about is like knowing your worth and charging for it and pushing for it and like getting to the next step and getting to the next revenue target. And actually, like, you can get to the next revenue target through kindness and like not pushing, and dealing with people how you would like to be dealt with, I think is a really big piece.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fascinating. And one of the things that I completely admire about what you guys have done is you have like literally ripped up the rule book when it comes to like that stereotype of accounting. I mean, how did it feel? How scary was it to break the mold? Because you said at the start there, like, you didn't see anyone that you felt like you aligned with, anyone else doing a similar thing in your space. So did it feel really scary being the first person, like, to sort of step out there and be like, hey?
I think, so the first thing is the name. And I really tried to make sure that it was something that was punny and funny, and because some people sometimes say to me like, oh my god, I didn't get it until you said it out loud. And like I mean, right, I'm glad you pulled that face, because I thought it was pretty obvious. But and like,
in case anyone's trying to work it out, it's accountant she, as in accountancy, you know, accountancy. Accountant she.
So I think the first thing was the name. Like, I wanted to like go in with both feet and really say like, this is who I am. Like, I don't take myself too seriously. It is really funny, but at the same time it's really clever, and it does what it says on the tin. And so that was the first thing. And the second thing, I actually think it was made much less difficult because we were in a pandemic. Like, me stepping out and being what people, like, it was exactly what people needed. Like, people didn't want a bloke in a suit that when you call him, he doesn't know who you are. They wanted me in dungarees on Instagram in the place where you run your business, doing the same things that you do to run your business, which is scrolling through reels at 10 p.m. trying to find a soundtrack that matches with what you're trying to do. Like, our business is the same as yours. Like, fundamentally, we're not a big corporate practice. Like, we are a small business too, and actually stepping out and saying like, this is what we're going to do, was made much easier, because I think it was exactly what people needed it to be during the pandemic too.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. So how do you feel that social media then has helped you grow your business?
I cannot. Instagram. So okay, I'm just going to rewind. So this time last year, the business was a one-man band with 50 clients. And Accountant She came onto Instagram on the 1st of August 2020. So we've gone from 50 clients, one-man band, to we're nearly now at 250 clients and 6 members of staff in 9 months. So
whoa,
yeah. So we've gone from a £50,000 turnover to $250,000 in nine months, and that is predominantly down to the Instagram platform, the YouTube channel. Like, literally it is social media, and it's not, like, obviously a huge part of it is the connections that we're building, and it is what we're doing, but those introductions are coming from social media. Like, I can post a reel and get like 5 or 6 inquiries from a reel, and like, for us, in terms of value, you know, that's sometimes £5,000-6,000 from posting a reel. And I think that's a really important piece to mention, is like, sometimes it's really easy to like look on other people's Instagram and be like, oh, they've monetized their Instagram, or like they're doing paid sponsorships, or they're collaborating with people with more followers than me. And actually, like, no one sees the behind the scenes stuff. Like, no one sees that I can post a reel and make £5,000 or £6,000. Like, people don't see that side of it. And I think it's really important because you do compare yourself. Like, we're literally looking at it's like playing top trumps. Like, you're getting statistics when you look at someone, and it's impossible not to do that, but it's really important to remember, like, you don't see the person's DMs, you don't see the strategy that they're implementing, and you don't see the value in the business that they're building from the Instagram platform. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned, is like, people don't see that I generate so much money from Instagram unless I tell them.
Yeah, and Katie's saying that that's really, really impressive. It is, it's absolutely incredible. And I think one thing to take away from that is, again, with your industry, you know, to traditionalize it, everyone would immediately think, well, you should be on LinkedIn, right? That's where you're going to get. And so many people are like, oh, not Instagram. Nope. There'll be nobody there. It just goes to show you, right? Doesn't it? It's like, people could be sitting there focusing on in the wrong place.
Yes.
Sometimes you've got to be, and you've got to know, like, you were very clear at the start about who you wanted to work with in your business, like the people that you wanted to have as clients, and you knew where they were.
There's a big misconception that by stating who you really love working with, that you're like cutting yourself off, and actually it's actually the opposite. So I love working with influencers, I love working with women in business, but like, that's just my personal preference. And we have an entire accountancy practice with other people with lots of different specialities, and I really often get men messaging me as potential like prospective clients, saying like, oh,
I'm glad you cleared that up, because it was like, men messaging you.
I get men messaging me. I mean, we all have that, but I also have prospective clients messaging, being like, oh, I'm not sure if you'll work with me, but, or I have people who are micro influencers saying like, I don't have a blue tick, so I'm not sure if you'll work with me. And like, by stating who you really love working with, it doesn't cut you off, and actually sometimes it makes you more desirable. So we have some, like, we work with some big names, big influencers, like we do amazing things, and actually sometimes that can make you more desirable, and more people want to work with you because of the other people that you work with. And it's a network, and it is family, and you're all part of the same family, and that's cool for a lot of people. People really like that.
Yeah, definitely. I know I've name dropped you so many times to people when they've mentioned, you know, accountants, because it's just like, honestly, I have been through, as I said to you, I'd been through like 5 bookkeepers in like 18 months, and it was just like trying to get someone who understood the online business, the way that transactions work in a membership, the way that, you know, what's an online course and why would you sell that, and, you know, out of the UK and all was like, they just couldn't get their head around it. And I think you were probably the first person I'd seen that was like, yeah, we do that. There's no biggie. And I'm like,
Yeah, we
oh my
literally do
God.
it ourselves. So
Yeah, it was an absolute relief. So, what platforms are really working for you? You said YouTube, Instagram. So, have you
yeah,
tried LinkedIn?
yeah. So I, they're so different. Like I can post a reel and also the algorithms are different, and that's also a big part of it. Like not only is the audience different, the algorithm's different too. So content that goes really really well on Instagram, like reels, I can save that reel, post it on LinkedIn, and it doesn't get the same engagement, but I know that that's because LinkedIn defaults to play with no sound. And if it's a reel that's funny because there's a theme, like something going on in the background, like people on LinkedIn like just don't get it.
Yeah,
And that's why. So I think understanding the mechanical side behind the platform's also really important, and knowing things like I need to put subtitles on everything because the platforms work in different ways. But I mean, yeah, Instagram has generated a huge amount of work for us specifically.
yeah.
And yeah, so we're pretty new to YouTube actually. So Accountant She is now on YouTube, and I'm trying to just create the content that I needed when I was like I was going to say 10 years ago. I'm creating the content that I needed, and that was, what does a day in your life look like? Can I just follow you around? And yeah, today's video is a day in the life, and it's from 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. and that was a 17-hour working day, and I just vlogged the entire day, and it was everything from, I run through my inbox to talk about what's in my inbox because I got off a webinar and had 37 emails in an hour, and so I just said like, actually let me run you through that because you must be like, what the hell, like why have so many people emailed you? Yes, YouTube's also amazing, but like they're so different, aren't they? And they feel different, and like the audience is different, and it takes a long time to like find a place that you feel like, okay, I know what my content pillars are, this is my strategy, if it doesn't fall into that, I'm just not doing it. And like knowing where your lines are and like the people that you want to work with and collaborate with is also really important.
Yeah, something that kind of comes up time and time again is people say they feel like they're clear about their platform, they're clear about their intentions on starting something, maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's a podcast, and then they fall into the sort of hurdle, I don't know, trench of consuming everyone else's content in the same niche, and then all of a sudden, without realizing it, kind of changing tact and just being what everyone else is doing. Do you feel that? Do you say absolutely no, I'm not consuming anything that's in my niche?
So I think the first thing to say is I'm very, very lucky. Like accountancy on Instagram is not a saturated market.
You've got the monopoly on that one.
Yeah, so like but there are a lot of amazing people, women, business owners in the same place, on the same platforms, that are doing amazing things. And I think one of the first things to say is reach out to them. Like, don't let it be an unspoken rule that for some reason you are competitors. Like, reach out to them firstly and collaborate with them, speak to them, use them as resources, because if you're feeling something, no one will understand it better than somebody who's doing the same thing as you. So firstly, like, break that barrier to start with, and reach out to them. Just tell them that you love what they're doing in the space, and that you feel really well aligned, and your mission feels like the same thing, and that immediately like breaks down the barriers, and it makes you feel like, oh, we're on the same team. We're not like, there's enough accountancy work to go out round, right? Like, we're not competing with each other. And secondly, I think being really aware and self-aware of how much you are consuming, and like putting things in place. So like I time block. I get up at 5, I don't pick up my phone until 8, and I have 3 hours of like deep focus work of like clearing my inbox or filming a YouTube video, and I try and be really intentional with my time, and social media is a really big part of that. And I think we all do go through phases of, actually, I'm not benefiting from this anymore. Like, I do need to take a couple of days off and like delete the app from my phone and then come back fresh and better. And I think it's just about being self-aware and putting things in place. If you can't literally stay off your phone, you know, put things on it that stop you picking it up too much. Put time blocks on certain apps like Instagram, and
I do that.
Even things like,
it's a tough habit to break, though.
Yeah, and like you can actually control the ads that you have on Instagram. So I'm completely teetotal. I've been teetotal for 3 years, and like I'm not going to benefit from seeing adverts about alcohol. And you can actually go into Instagram and tell them what you don't want to see adverts on. And if that's something that you like need to do, like do that too.
Yeah, definitely. No, it is. It's definitely a good thing. And that's the app timers is
Yeah,
life changing, as is the, creating that habit of not checking your phone first thing in the morning. That is massive. It's such a habit, especially if you use it as your alarm.
yes,
The habit is to switch the alarm off, and then I find that my finger naturally wants to gravitate. Email is my first app, and I'm like, even now, I've been doing it for 4 months, I find myself having to be like, oh no, I almost did it.
yeah. Charging your phone in another room is like one of the best things I've ever done, and it's actually surprising, firstly, how anxious you feel at the beginning. Like, it's actually terrifying. And secondly, how liberating it is. Especially when you do run your business from your phone, it can feel like you have, like, you're not making money or the business isn't growing if you're not on your phone. And actually, if you have like 2 hours of your day without, like, where that is not your priority, I guarantee you your business will grow far faster than if you're on Instagram in bed and you're like, oh, I actually woke up like half an hour ago. Like, how did that happen? So
Yeah, of course, there's nothing worse, is there? If you could go all the way back to the start and change anything, do anything differently, is there anything that you would change?
I don't, I honestly, I feel so like humble and lucky and proud. There's very, very little that I change. Doing it with the person I love literally makes it the best journey I've ever been on. And like we're creating something really sustainable and something that I really truly believe will like drive change within an industry that really does need some change. And every single thing along the way has been a lesson, or like we are where we are now because of like all of the mistakes that you make. And I think
Yeah, exactly.
you have to celebrate those things. And so yeah, I'm not sure I'd do anything differently.
Yeah. Was there any point along your journey where you kind of thought, holy shit, this is actually working? Like, was there a certain like client that you won, or a certain, number of clients that you were like, holy shit?
Yeah, I think so. At the moment, we are literally, I think, 5 clients away from hitting 250. And we're also very painfully close to hitting 250,000 turnover. And for me and James, that's quite like, oh, we're measuring our turnover in like points of millions now. Like, that's kind of a big deal. So that's been a really cool thing.
Yeah.
I think so. We actually got I was on the cover of a magazine about 3 months in, and I think when that came out, that was quite like, oh, I think people are going to pay attention. Like, people are sitting up and listening to this. Like, people are really bought into what we're doing and what we're trying to do, and like, no one's on the cover of a magazine, like, let alone an accountant. So
Yeah.
it's people were listening to us. And then again, obviously the TED Talk is crazy, and as a part of that, we've actually signed TEDx as a client. So
Oh my God.
I'm just a networking ninja, so like, don't let me near you.
Oh, that is amazing. Can you network for me? Because I hate it.
But yeah, I think like every client is as unique as the other. So like TEDx still need accounts done just in the same way that the plumber that we work with or the electrician that we work with does too. And the real impact is seeing it in someone's personal life, and having someone sit in front of you saying like, I just can't get a mortgage, and then 12 months later they've bought a house because you were able to deliver in the way that accountants should, and not only preparing the accounts but introducing them to a mortgage advisor that specializes in working with self-employed people and really maximizing to make you look like the best possible lending option. Like, that's where change, and that's where the value comes from, and that's the stuff people will never forget that you did that for them. Like, ever.
Yeah, because that's totally life-changing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was the first thing in your business that you outsourced to someone else? Because you do a lot of it yourself.
Yeah, we do.
Is there anything? Any admin bit?
Outsourced.
No, do it all.
So in terms of literally, so like all of the work, like payroll, bookkeeping, everything we do in-house, and we hired as soon as we possibly could, and everybody that we take on is an apprentice, but we pay not apprentice wages. So we're actually really trying to grow a sustainable team where, so like something for social media rather than outsource it, like we're currently hiring someone to come and help me do what I do. Oh, sorry, this isn't a very good advert for outsourcing social media. But, yeah, we actually, this sounds really bad, but like we're almost growing so rapidly that by the time we think about outsourcing it, we need to hire somebody to come with us.
Yeah. That's not a bad thing, is it, no. Really? It's an amazing thing. So if you had one piece of advice for someone who was right at the very beginning where you used to be, even to the point where the brink where they're like, I'm not going to do it, it's too scary.
Yeah.
What would it be?
I have two things. The first thing is, if you're going to do it, give 195%. Like, people literally think I'm mental. Like, we literally, and this day in the life video, James said, like, you need to write somewhere that, like, this is literally a normal day. Like, you didn't do 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. because you were filming a YouTube video. Like, we give like every single ounce of our being to it, and it does pay off. Like, every single percent that you put in, you'll get 10 times back out. So keep pushing. And if you are going to do it, like, don't do yourself the injustice of not giving it everything, because if it fails, you'll fail knowing I tried everything. I pushed hard. I was myself, and I showed up, and I did everything that they say you're supposed to. And if it still fails, then you will have learned something really important from that. But like, don't do yourself the injustice of not giving it 100%. And then the second thing is, I'm an ISTJ personality type. So I actually intuitively stay away from my intuition and like I'm a great accountant. I resort to numbers and like statistics and like what the data tells me to do. And actually the biggest bit of advice I could give anyone is literally ignore those things. And if that feeling in your tummy tells you something isn't right, and it might take an hour, might take a day, a week, a month, or 12 months, but like, you will find out and you will be proved right that the thing that you thought was wrong. And I think it took me a really long time to do that, and I used to like review it really calmly and controlled and make really educated decisions. And if I felt that way, I would think like, oh, this is something about like, it's me making me feel like that. Whereas actually, your gut, you need to, and this is a business owner thing. This isn't like an accountancy thing. Your gut, in terms of weighting when you're making decisions, has to move up to top priority, because I'm not a very loud, outspoken. I try and keep things to myself, and if I don't have anything nice to say, I won't say anything at all. And actually, you're building something very valuable that you need to protect with everything, because you're giving it everything. And if something in your gut, whether it's a client that you got a really bad vibe from, and you're there like, but this is someone that wants to work with me, like, there will always be a reason that you feel like that. And yeah, trust your gut more than anything else. And even if that doesn't come naturally to you, because it doesn't to me, you have to keep pushing and like, just trust your gut more than anything in the world, because it's there for a reason. And it like could be something really like low level subconscious, but like, those red flags come for reasons, and like, you need to listen to them.
Yeah, definitely. Right, just to let everyone know, we're going to do a quick fire round, and then we're going to go into the sort of Q&A element with people sending questions in. But if anybody watching wants to ask Rachel a question, just put it in the comments and we'll get to it as well. But before we get to the quick fire round, what businesses do you look up to for inspiration? Could be a niche, could be out of niche.
Yeah, of course. Firstly, I really, really love following, watching, and like reading about Anne Boden, who is the founder of Starling Bank. And Starling Bank were the first ever in the UK, female-led bank.
It's a bank I use, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, so yeah, she's the first ever female-led bank in the UK, and she spent a really large portion of her life working for stale pale males and making it up to board level and then being ignored. So she did it herself, and she has created a great bank. So I really love what Anne Boden's doing. I'm a really keen, like, I follow a lot of people on YouTube. I love like day in the life videos and seeing what other people do. I really like Gymshark, following his journey. Like, you know, to hit the £1 billion threshold in your 20s is literally insane. And he's done all of it with a really sound mind and like kept himself on the straight path while doing it. And again, yeah, I look up to a lot of people that are like sober for like whatever reason. Like I'm sober by choice. It was a really amazing life choice for me, but I think to run a business with nowhere to hide and like you feel everything, and sometimes it's really hard to switch off because you don't have like a go-to escape. But I really look up to a lot of other sober business owners, and there's a lot of them out there and a lot of people don't shout about it, but it was a phenomenal change that I made in my life. And it's something that I'm quite proud of, and I talk about it because I think it's really important to
That's quite spooky because I don't drink through choice. I do drink at Christmas, or I might have one here or there, but I'm not the sort of person that on a Friday or a Saturday night, or, you know, like I didn't miss the pubs in lockdown or any of these sort of things. And I kind of drink doesn't necessarily agree with me. Like I can have one drink and have the most horrendous hangover. So I just think, what's the bloody point in it? Like, what is the actual point? Like, I'm getting no joy from this.
100%. And it's almost not like from a business owner perspective, it's not the drinking, it's the day after. Like, I just can't afford to, like, what happens if you lose a day? What even, you know, and I'm quite an anxious person, and I just alcohol is a drug, and the anxiety I felt just from drinking and like having alcohol in my life. And I said before, like I'm quite like a softly spoken person, and for me, sobriety and putting a label on it really helps me, because if I say to somebody like, oh, I'm sober, they're not going to say like, oh, go on, just have one. Whereas you there, when you said like, oh, I drink sometimes, like they would be going for you saying like, come on, have one. Whereas like, for me, it's a boundary. Like that puts boundaries in place that makes me feel really comfortable because nobody pressures me.
That's a good idea, actually. Saying that, because I've had that before, where people just, and then they think I'm like being a bit boring, or you know what I mean, because I won't take one. Whereas if you put a label to it, then it's like
people don't push you to people don't push you to like try it or like have one. And I think as well, like, there's a really big misconception that like if you don't drink, you have to stop drinking like because of something. Like if you're vegetarian, people aren't like, were you addicted to meat? Is that why you're vegetarian? Whereas like in the UK, we have this really weird thing that like if you say like, oh, I'm sober or I don't drink, people are like, why? And
there must be some like story there, right?
So I think talking about it is really cool, and it normalizes it. And actually, like, if you want to do something that other people haven't done, you need to do things that other people haven't, like that other people don't do. And actually, drinking is a big part of that. Like, it means that I'm present and confident in the decisions I make, and it's me that made them, of sound mind, and like it improved my confidence a lot because I knew I am where my feet are like all the time.
I always think it's really bizarre that it's like going out on a Friday night and getting absolutely obliterated is accepted and normal, and then if you say you don't drink, it's like
But what if, like, especially as people that are growing like platforms and like trying to like really encourage young people, like what if I did that and then like someone that follows me on Instagram saw me with like sick in my hair and was like, oh, you me. So I think there's a really good part of it that just I wish I had someone when I was 18 telling me these things, because I probably, you know, that really would have helped me. And I think it's really important as business owners that maybe people are looking up to, and especially in the industry, it's important to say like, this is a big part of why it has been really successful, is because I don't do those things.
I think that's funny what you said about vegetarians. No one says, were you addicted to meat?
No.
Cheeseburgers at 2 a.m. Too funny. Right, quick fire round. Let me find my mouse. So I'm going to give you a this or that, and you can just shout
Okay.
out.
Okay.
So first one's what's your favorite social media platform?
Instagram.
Obviously. Video or podcast?
Video.
Live or pre-recorded?
Live.
Filter or no filter?
No filter.
Daily or ad hoc posting?
Daily.
DIY or outsource it? Oh, or employ someone.
Yeah, I outsource. Oh, I thought you meant like actual DIY. Yeah, DIY.
Yeah. TikTok or Reels?
Reels.
And what are your favorite binge shows at the minute on Netflix, Amazon Primes, any of that sort of stuff?
I absolutely love trash TV. And when I say trash, I mean like on a scale of 1 to Kardashian, I'm a 10. Like, when you have a really intense job or like a really heavy day, you just need something that's like white noise. And that's like so interested in like Made in Chelsea is like the most important thing just for an hour of your day. Like that's where I am.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. No, I'm exactly the same. And Netflix is like my happy place. I just love sitting on the sofa under a blanket, cat, Netflix.
I swear, like a lot of like our like prospect new client calls normally involve like some sort of like Netflix recommendation session with myself.
Yes, writing them down.
Yeah.
Right, I've got some questions that were sent in. So if anyone else wants to ask a question, pop it in the comments and we'll get to it at the end. So someone saying, so what are the 3 things that you should look for in an accountant?
Oh, great news. And great question. So the most important thing, and this is fundamentally like, you can ignore 2 and 3, just listen to 1, is that you feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I think so often, like, people get so anxious around anything that is about money and bills and like deadlines and things that you have to do as a bit like being a business owner is terrifying enough. Like you don't need an accountant or anyone that you outsource things to and work with to make you feel uncomfortable. And it's so often like if you go to a doctor and you say like something's wrong and the doctor's like, no, there's nothing wrong. Like, your body. And like the doctor knows loads of things, but he doesn't know your body better than you, and no one knows your business better than you. And it's not my job to be a doctor and say like, no, you're wrong. It's my job to like connect the dots and say, I know loads about accountancy, but you know loads about your business. So let's bring them together and like do great things together. So the first thing is being comfortable. The second thing is qualification. I think for a lot of the time, like, we run a chartered accountancy practice, and sometimes as a business owner you might not be aware of the different levels of qualifications that individuals and businesses can have. And a lot of the time if you're going out and getting comparative quotes, quite often people are getting undercut by unregulated or uninsured or unchartered practices, and there are so many benefits of going with someone that's fully qualified and insured and all of those great things. So like ask people about their qualifications and have really open conversations about what the bonuses are, what the downsides are. And then the third thing is shop around. I always tell people, like, whenever they come on a call with me, like, please do go out and get comparative quotes, because it's really important to do that. And it's important to people respect it when I tell them that, because if you're very, very price sensitive, like, I might not be the best person to work with, but if you're after value, then I definitely am. But do shop around. Like, people quote for things in different ways, and you need to ask people, like, that quote, is that everything, or are you going to charge me when I call you? Because like me and you like send each other voice notes. It's things like that. So I think be comfortable, understand what you're getting in terms of qualifications and who they are, and shop around, get comparative quotes, and feel really comfortable with the decision that you have made, because it is an important, like, accountants are for life, not just for Christmas. So.
One thing I would definitely say is the fact that you almost sort of like guided me and sort of helped me understand when I was looking what I needed to look for, because as a business owner, I had no idea, like, not a clue, like the difference between, a bookkeeper, tax advisor, like corporation tax, like if you're selling in different areas in different countries, like I have no idea what I need, like, and I don't know the difference between chartered or not chartered and all this sort of stuff. And so I think it was absolutely fascinating when we had that call and you were like, right, this is what we do, this is what you're going to need. And it was just so refreshing because, like you say, other accountants that I've maybe been on the phone with, it's like they try and basically sell you what it is that they do, and they might only do this bit of the pie, and then you only find out at a later date that actually it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, you're bookkeeping. It's like, I thought you were doing that. No. Oh, now I need to go and find a bookkeeper, or now I need to go and find like a VA that will go and like get all my invoices for me or something like that. Like I thought you were going to do that. The fact that you were wholly transparent, I think, is just brilliant and enlightened me as to what I really need in my business, which is just fantastic. Another question is, how did you find the experience of employing staff? Was it easy to start doing? Because I'm a control freak.
Yeah, I'm a control freak too. So the first thing to say is we've actually hired through Instagram before. So we're about to hire employees 5 and 6, and I think finding people who really understand your brand is amazing, and like we have a very clear mission and a very clear it's so clear. And I posted on Instagram, I came on my stories and said that we were hiring, and I have never had CVs flown at me so fast. And so like even in terms of saving on recruitment fees, definitely post on Instagram, because that's your target. You want the people that are already following you, already interested, already feel like they know you. Yeah, it has been amazing for us in terms of the hiring. Also, was the question how did you hire, or like
how did you find the experience? Because control freak.
It is hard, and you have to trust people, which is very difficult, especially because you are building something so valuable. And actually, if it doesn't work out, like you're risking the time. And as a business owner, like you invest time into people when you're training them and working with them, and it is a risk, and it's hard not to be, but there's definitely things that you can do to minimize the risk. So like, again, if there is anything in your tummy that says like, oh, I'm not sure about this, listen to that thing, because you'll find out. And also be really thorough, be really, really thorough. Like, don't just interview once. If you're interviewing over Zoom because of the pandemic, like now restrictions are easing, like really try and make sure you're meeting people face to face. Ask really open and honest questions. I just be really thorough firstly, so that you know what you're getting, and there's no surprises from you and there's no surprises from them. And I think also from what you can do as a business owner, be really honest about what you're looking for and what your expectations are. So we're a really small business, and the best and worst bit about when we're hiring is that we're a small business. So you will get exposure to like 27 million things a day, and you will learn more than you would ever learn in a big practice. But the downside of that is we're a small business, and you'll have exposure to a lot of things, and that's a lot for people, you know. So
you're not going to be a one-trick pony.
And what you're selling, so that can clear up any miscommunication from like the very beginning.
Yeah, definitely. Also, that was sorry, and you go.
Also, we have a puppy in the office at all times, and like people love that, so I can recommend doing that. It like keeps everyone really happy all the time.
Is he there right now?
No, he's not allowed on live.
I've got a cat right there. He's fast asleep on my desk. So the next question is, and it's the last question, so if anyone wants to ask any more, now's the time to put it in. Xero or QuickBooks?
That's a juicy question. Okay, so we partner with both. We are like, I'm a certified accountant for both, and the answer is whichever one is right for your business. I know that sounds really cringy, but like they're very, very, I always describe it as, you know, like internet browsers do the same thing, but some people just work better on Chrome. Like, I feel like everyone works better on Chrome, but anyway.
Firefox.
It's like very much like that, and it's about, I always send people links to have a look at the website, have a look at YouTube videos that show you around, and say, have a look at both, look at them, get a feel from them, work out what's, especially it's really easy if someone like needs to integrate to Amazon or Etsy, because certain softwares do things really, really well. But if you have no preference, again, it's that gut feel, like which one feels nice to you. Like, so we offer free training for everybody, and like I can teach you how to use either, but which one do you like the most? So yeah, the answer is which one is right for your business.
And actually, because if you're going to be doing a lot of the work yourself, like I was doing my bookkeeping initially, and my first accountant was like, you have to have Sage. It has to be Sage. And I looked at it and I'm like, I can't.
Do you
like,
mean
how
a
do I use
desktop
this?
program?
Yeah.
No.
And she was like, I've got a free login, and I'm just like, oh, no. And it's like, how do I like claim expenses, like snap photos of receipts? And I think it was at that point where QuickBooks was all over the TV and like showing plumbers like sending invoices as soon as they were leaving, and I'm like, I kind of want that thing. Like, what's that all about? And in the end, I went with Xero because she was like, at QuickBooks, because as a traditional accountant, she was like, heck no, it's Sage or nothing. And then she was like, well, I'll make do for Xero. But
QuickBooks is really American, so a lot of people are like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Whereas
but
like,
honestly,
Xero is Australian, so people are like, for some reason, more
it
like,
is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I had like, honestly, talk about jumping into the deep end, because I think she came to me and she said, I'm not doing freelance anymore. I've taken a job with a corporate company. I haven't done any of your previous bookkeeping for the last 11 months. So there's it all back. And I literally had to process 11 months worth of receipts and invoices and all like that. So talk about jumping straight into the deep end. But actually, it was a great experience, because it probably took me about 10 hours solid, but it was the best experience because it meant that I got to know the system very, very quickly inside and out. And I'm always sort of like, because I don't do bullshit, and if I can use it, anyone can use it. It's like, so it was very, very easy. Right, just checking in the comments in case anyone has asked a question. I saw a couple of compliments. Someone was loving your sign, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I think it's always in reverse when I do lives.
You're gonna have to that's gonna be weird if you have it the other way around. No, I don't think we've missed any questions. I think we've waved to everyone, and we've read out all the compliments. We're good to go. But thank you so much, Rachel, for joining us, and it's been so fantastic to hear about your experience, and just keep rocking that accountancy world and making it your own, totally owning it.
I've had like the best time, firstly, and secondly, thank you so much for inviting me. I was really honoured to even be invited, so thank you so much.
Oh, bless you. And it's been great fun. Thank you for lightening up my afternoon.
Amazing. Have a great day, everybody.
Take care. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.